But anyway, speaking of the pencil being poorly packed, the next match on this program was for the FTW title. How about FTT? F this title. Wouldn't that be more apropos?
Well, that's kind of what the ending was here, isn't it? In a sense, not to say.
Well, I think maybe Taz just demanded his property back. He don't trust these people anymore. But we'll get there. Hook versus Roderick Strong. And, of course, and he's got Taven and Bennett in. Taven and Bennett never wrestle on this show, and they're better than half the people that are wrestling on this show. And they rang the bell because this is the FTW title. Anything goes. No disqualification. Lazy booking. And they were on the floor with kendo sticks and interference from the Stooges within the first 60 seconds of the thing. So, seriously, what is the point? I will get to the meat of the matter. After taking a variety of bumps on chairs set up in the middle of the ring for no good reason, Hook choked him out. Imagine that. And then Roddy and Taven and Bennett are standing there, and Roddy offers his hand and shakes Hook's hand and hugs him and rolls out. And then Taven and Bennett shake Hook's hand and they leave.
It was like they were moving to another town. What was that?
Well, that's it. It was like a goodbye. Like, well, it's been great working with you, kid, but it's time for us to mosey on down the road. If they were just hitting each other with fucking weapons and chairs and kendo sticks and whatever the fuck and try to drop each other on their necks. And okay, shake hands and see you later.
Shake hands with me and my friends.
All is forgiven, though, apparently. And then, or maybe is it Hook that's saying sayonara here? Because then Tony Schiavone, ace reporter, gets to the fucking bottom of the thing he says, and this is a quote from Tony, in 1998, 3 miles away at the Elks Lodge, the FTW title was born by your father, Taz. Besides the horrible grammar, what kind of smart mark bullshit is that for national television? Yeah, we used to wrestle at the Elks Lodge, is what the average... What? The Elks Lodge. They're in a 20,000-seat building. It's not half full, but they're talking about the Elks Lodge 25 years ago. So anyway, Hook says, thank you, Tony. But all good things must come to an end, so on behalf of my family, I thank every wrestler who's ever competed for this title and all the fans who have supported it. And in this very moment, the FTW title is officially retired. And he hands it back to Taz, and he hugs Taz, and Hook walks off. And Taz had a gleam in his eye there. It was a somber situation, would have brought a tear to a glass eye. So now they've retired the FTW title. And like I say, maybe it was Taz just calling his property back in. Like, what the fuck? What happened here?
I saw this as a good thing. They reduced the championship from AEW. That's something they've had to do. They probably should do it a few more times. There's too many titles. And if this is their way of acknowledging that and getting rid of one of them with a very happy moment where Hook wins the title. Well, here he was the champion. Kept the title.
Yes.
And then shook everyone's hand and then gave it to his dad. It was a very nice, neutral, sports-based moment. I liked it. Goodbye, FTW.
Well, the only way it would make any difference is they followed with another 7 or 8 belts. But just besides that, the heels being heels until they're happy heels, and then I don't know what the fuck is going on. You know, Brian, maybe what the thing is that Taz said, I'm not getting any younger. And I don't know whether this company's going to last too much longer or not. I need my belt back, my FTW title belt, so I can maybe auction it off or something, raise some cash for my retirement.
Really? You don't think he's going to leave it to Hook?
Well, he's already left it to Hook, and Hook barely hung on to it. I think now is time for him to cash in. He ought to go to our friends at Shopify. Because I bet you they could get him a ton of money. He could just start selling belts and boots and tights and all kinds of headgear, all kinds of things.
Well, maybe we could wait a few years and Hook can go to Shopify and sell the belt that he now has when Taz, moves to Florida.
I don't think you ought to wait to go to Shopify. I think you ought to do it right now because nobody does selling better than Shopify. That you've seen the mushrooming amount of rich people in the world. People are getting richer all over the world. It's because they're hooked up with Shopify. Because that's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. I will have you know, Brian, that ShopPay boosts conversions up to 50%. Now, it used to be hard to get paid. What you used to have to do is you used to have to put your goods and your merchandise and the things you were trying to sell, you put them in a big sack and you put them on your back and you trudged. You trudged through the mud and the snow and you went from outpost to outpost. And sometimes they might give you a dollar bill, but before that they'd give you a coin of the realm. And sometimes they wouldn't even do that. They would give you pelts and skins, raccoon furs and otter claws and the like, that served as monetary compensation. And then you'd have to trudge and slodge that back to put it in the bank there at the local general store with good old Cincinnatus. But no more, Brian. You don't have to do that anymore. Because Shopify, if you're selling your goods and merchandise through our friends at Shopify, if somebody wants to pay with a raccoon pelt, that's what conversions means. They will take that pelt and they'll give you the equivalent amount in United States coinage. Now, what more service can you want performed than that?
I can tell you what more service. The truth. None of that is true, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot trade any sort of pelt off any sort of dead animal. That is not the kind of converting.
No,
we're talking about converting visitors of your website into paying customers, happy customers, receiving happy packages from your friends, from you actually, and your friends at Shopify will be there to help you.
Well, I'm not saying dead animals. I'm just saying the skin off of dead animals.
Well, you're not saying live animals.
But no, live animals, now they'll convert those too. Now, let's say you want to pay with chickens.
No, you can't pay with, you can mail them apparently, but you can't pay with chickens.
You know what? In Evansville, Indiana, this old guy used to pay Christine Jarrett for his general admission ticket sometimes with a bushel of beans from his garden. And they'll convert the beans too.
This is why I'm happy Vince McMahon got wrestling out of the smoke-filled barns.
But he was there every week for years and years because of those beans. And I'll tell you what, folks, you're going to be there for years and years laying back and relaxing with farting through silk with all the money in your bank account because of Shopify. No more carts going abandoned. Way more sales going just like that, see? So if you're into growing your business, your e-commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are existing there, on the web, in your store, in their feed. If they're in their if they're in their feed, does that mean they're having lunch?
No, in their social media feed, not their bag of food.
Oh, I feel, well, people on the go. I've seen that's fashionable in the bigger cities these days. They're just tying a bag around their neck where they can lean over and graze. But anyway, no matter what kind of business or operation you're trying to run, Shopify will help you take more money in because they will not take no for an answer. If these people don't want to pay you, or by gum, they're gonna get a knock on the door. So right now, folks, as the lawnmowers,
sounds like someone with a chainsaw is coming for you right now, Jim.
They're working on the wall right now. But they use Shopify also. I can't not pay them. I've tried to run them off. They're unfireable. That's another thing. If you're using Shopify, people can't fire you. You have your job for life.
That's not
They're
true.
afraid of Shopify.
They're getting closer, Jim, but that's not true.
It's inside the wall. So upgrade your business right now and sign up for your $1 a month trial period right now. And for heaven's sake, if you can't afford $1, what are you doing right? You ought to be digging a ditch somewhere if you don't have $1 hanging around. Anyway, Shopify.com/JCE, all lowercase. That's Shopify.com/JCE to get the $1 a month trial period and upgrade your selling today. Ooh, that's sweet selling.